Okay, how's that?
How's that? Yeah, I can hear you now. Happy to hear you.
Nice.
Yeah.
My, I think maybe it's my camera. It looks all fuzzy. Hold on. Is that
Happy to
better?
see you today. Happy Monday. 4 minutes early. Trisley is set up. Happy to see Trisley today.
Gonna add a little different light source here. And
Sounds
then,
good. We are just having a good Monday. Looks like I
yeah.
have echo.
That's because I just took my headphones out so I could walk to the old light switch. Let me plug those
Sure
back
thing. This is
in.
the sound check. So it's
Yeah,
okay. I say
sound
hello to
check
Cram that
in.
he also came early. Nice to meet you.
Nice. What up, Cram? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Okay, so what I'm also going to do while we're doing sound check is I am going to open up the new House app, the old Farhouse. And when Trislet gives me the go ahead, I am going to start the stream over there. Hopefully it all works and people can even watch like in the feed over there. Okay, it
That's
looks
great.
live.
Uh,
It's freaking live.
can we check the sound of the guitar?
Please.
How was it?
Oh, that was great. We're live over there. So there's a little delay, I think, behind this.
And
Let's
that
see.
that will be natural. So I think that we have to remind people like, hey, you want to talk with us live? Come over to the Discord. You don't care. You are
And
just listening. Go to the house. Go to the YouTube. Go to the Twitter.
exactly. And for, nights like tonight, we have a little bit of reward action for people that do join over here and are active in the Discord. So that's a little bonus to let them know. Quick check. Let's see. So when I'm in house, I see it, but the screen is a little bit chopped. I see like the chat more than the main screen of me and Jose. Trisla, if there's a way to wiggle the view so that it's more of the video, that would be epic. But I mean, it's exciting just to see it actually working over there. I can see the chat here. I see right now, I see like IG88. So yeah, I think it's just on a little delay and it should catch up with us hopefully soon. Epic Dylan in the house. Yeah. We started a couple minutes early so we could get a sound check in and see how it would work going live over on House. Super stoked to have y'all here. We should have our main guest Ruminations joining very soon from Quotient, which is really cool. They take all sorts of datas and like trust, kind of verify what your actions are, I believe on chain as well as in social medias. And so it's a great tool to be able to sort of find people that you want to connect with, or for people that are building mini apps to be able to like find the right audience that's trustworthy and stuff. Great. I see our screen now over on House as well. I would say this is a great time for a tune. Warm things
Great.
up.
Sure thing. We already did the sound check. It's already 9 p.m. Officially Monday. Happy to see Dylan here. Sub Geode. Dragonate. A veces me aferro tanto a los momentos que cuando se acaban me causan dolor. Y ese es mi karma de tanto soñar. Que el tiempo todo lo cambia. es transformación, que el tiempo es una distancia que cambia la percepción. Tu frío quítamelo, no me entregues nada. La eterna madrugada nos mira en un rincón. Bailaba sin distracción la canción de la muerte. Nuestro código inherente también se hizo canción. Tanto talento que tienen tus ojos tardíos. Muero de risa con todos tus juegos mentales. El argumento más denso ahora es la brisa de tus valores tan tiernos y tan siderales. Canto y conecto los puntos a tiempo con rimas, y tú no sabes de dónde van mis disparates. Que manifiesto seguido en los medios días, que dan color de mi esencia a tus realidades. Y a veces despierto en plena madrugada, como pidiendo a gritos un color, una tonalidad más clara, que luces también color, y notas musicales o signos zodiacales. El arte es un motor. Tu frío quitámoslo, no me entregues nada. La eterna madrugada nos mira en un rincón. Bailaba sin distracción la canción de la muerte. Nuestro código inherente también se hizo canción. Tanto talento que tienen tus ojos tardíos. Muero de risa con todos tus juegos mentales. El argumento más denso ahora es la brisa de tus valores tan tiernos y tan siderales. Canto y conecto los puntos a tiempo con rimas, y tú no sabes de dónde van mis disparates. Que manifiesto seguido en los medios días, que dan color de mi esencia a tus realidades.
Awesome. I'm gonna bring up our very special guest, who is Jordan here in the Discord. Another name over on Twitter, and Ruminations over on Farcaster. So a very mysterious man with multi names. How you doing? You got audio?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Excellent. Yeah, coming through
Nice.
loud and clear, which is like a miracle on the old Discords. Um, Great
Nice.
to have you with us. Did you catch a little of
Yeah,
Jose's tune there? Sweet, sweet.
yeah, it was beautiful.
We
Cool.
were live on like YouTube and X, and we are live over on House. It seems like maybe the videos have an issue loading over there, but I could hear you playing. I just couldn't see you over there. So, big welcome to everybody that's watching on any other platforms. If you're watching live and you want to come join the Token Smart Discord, it's just a lot of fun to have the live chat going right here. You can try and distract us with gifts. We're going to be doing some fun stuff with a little giveaways later and whatnot. So appreciate appreciate you watching from wherever you are, but feel free to also join us over here on the Discord. And with that, I think we've got a good little crew in here. See Penguin in the house, Elbow, Subgeode, Epic Dylan, Ventra, welcome. Of course, Trizlet is man in the streams, and Dragonate is our wizard, Discord wizard and mod. Zach, welcome. 10x Chris.eth, glad to see you here. But yeah, I think we can kind of get rolling. If you want, if you need a minute to get anything ready, I'm sure Jose could serenade us with one more tune.
I'm ready to go if you guys are.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. I always love to kind of start the show with especially with a guest that is here for the first time, to just get a little background. It's super interesting to find out where people are coming from. Some people got into tech when they were a kid. Other people, we have artists, we have all sorts of people on the show. So some people might have gotten inspired in art by a teacher in high school or something. We've had so many different sort of stories of how people got interested in kind of the Web3 blockchain space. And so I just thought it'd be fun to ask you to sort of roll back the clock for us. Let us know how you got interested in technology, because you're doing a lot of cool stuff with it.
Thanks. Very flattering. And thanks again for having me on. My background was in international security. So I studied Middle Eastern studies and learned Farsi and Urdu. And out of college, I worked as an intelligence analyst focused on counter-proliferation and counter-terror finance. So basically, finding people who were trafficking weapons and raising money for terrorist groups with a focus on Iran and Pakistan. And to do that work, which is kind of like, imagine like the cork board in the TV show where there's all the pictures and the analysts are kind of threading the string to try to piece together the picture. We had software to do that, to kind of perform our investigations and access all of the data available and try to find insights that we could share with our customers. So that was like people in government, big banks, big companies that exported sensitive equipment. And I really liked the software data side, kind of the knowledge graphs. So deciding how to organize them and how to find insights in those graphs and how to make those more accessible to customers, because network data is really difficult to wrap your mind around sometimes. It can be very overwhelming. So I moved over from the kind of analyst team to the product team to basically build products to help like banks and the government screen transactions and screen people to find risk. So this was kind of building data products that people could use for essentially KYC. So I was doing that. I didn't really enjoy the work that much because I thought that like the US's like sanctions policies and export control policies and other things that we were working on didn't really work well. So I didn't really feel that motivated. And at the same time, I was getting really into crypto originally through DeFi. So protocols like Yearn, for instance. I thought it was really cool that anyone could go and build like really whatever they wanted. They could build like the same sort of like complicated DeFi tools that you would need to be ultra wealthy and invest in a hedge fund for. You could do DAOs. So like I thought there was this opportunity for this kind of like open and meritocratic world where my experience working with like the network data would help me build something that could help people like find opportunities to contribute to DAOs, for instance. So I quit that job. I started a company called Chainverse, it was originally a DAO, but eventually we had to roll it up into a company because DAO was not good for building a product that required a lot of iteration. Long story there, but TLDR, like we had this like platform to help DAOs increase engagement and governance. So we would like recommend people that they should reach out to, recommend strategies for how to like create content that would get people engaged, identify people that were farming their growth incentives, so on and so forth. But decided to like shut that down for a lot of reasons. But the biggest one is probably that DAOs weren't big customers. There wasn't a lot of DAOs that had enough money to pay for the services, and the ones that did, a question would be like, well, like we could spend money increasing engagement and governance, but like, what does that do for our token holders? Like, what's the objective there? How does that help us grow? So yeah, and then after that, worked at a nonprofit for a bit, and saw an opportunity to kind of do something similar on Farcaster that was a bit more focused, where instead of like having a really broad goal, like we're gonna connect all this data and like try to make it helpful for DAOs, it was more we're gonna use this data to help projects grow by targeting the people that can help them evangelize their projects to like a larger audience. So I've been doing that on Farcaster for about 8 months now. So yeah, that was probably a lot of maybe a little bit more context than needed, but
No, I love it. I honestly like very impressive. I honestly like mind blown that you were like, sleuthing the interwebs for the baddies trying to, launder money or like smuggle guns or people or something. So thank you for that work. I could see how it might not be as interesting as what you're doing now, and I can totally understand. I've been in and helped founded many a DAO. It is something that is a very tough balance to be able to start something with it basically decentralized. You can't really do that. You have to start with a core and then aim for decentralization. And if there's a lot of iterations, like it's hard to just get people to do a basic vote every once in a while. So I totally understand kind of what that struggle can be like. But yeah, I think we're just lucky to have you over in the Farcaster space and in Web3. It's really fascinating how much data there is out there. Like and with Base being introduced, transaction numbers are just sky high now. Like I got my little end of review, like end of year. There's a couple of them over on Farcaster. It was like 10,000 Base transactions or something, and I wasn't even that like busy in the early part of the year. That was probably mostly in the last 6 months. Whereas previously, if you're paying gas on ETH, you like really decide what transactions you're gonna go ahead and hit. Especially when gas, had peaked a few times to like crazy amounts, and maybe if you're collecting an art piece that's thousands of dollars, it's no problem to spend 10 or 20 bucks on gas. But if you're trying to get something that's a couple dollar item and the gas is more than that, it just doesn't work. So it's been, I think, a great evolution to have the base layer really improve what kind of activities we can do. So yeah, thanks for what you're doing over there. And yeah, it sounds like you've got a very deep background in this sort of data analytics and stuff. So that was a great intro. Stoked to get that background. Definitely want to hear, Jose, you have anything to add before we kind of go into what Quotient is doing?
It was such a great journey. I had no expectations about today's interview, but that was just an amazing introduction from our friend Jordan. Happy to put a face also on you. That's cool to get to know the community through some quality time to be able to chat. I think that the same question Cici is going to be driving are the same I have, so I don't want to uh, you know, move forward. I'm just enjoying here checking the conversation.
Cool. Well, one more before we like kind of dive, get serious. I've got one more kind of background question that's always a fun one to ask. And I'm just gonna use
1 second.
ruminations. Yeah, yeah, no problem, no
No
problem.
problem. That's why we
We're
have the
gonna
guitar.
exactly take it away, Jose.
This is the moment for the guitar. Tengo un código básico pa' tus hábitos tóxicos, pa' cambiarte el sonido, pa' moldearte el oído. Tengo un bálsamo ácido, dulce como la realidad, pa' limpiarte por dentro, pa' ir sacando lo feo. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Como hay que saber, a veces sientes todo un batallón, a veces la hormiga ruge al león, a veces Marte saca su color. Como hay que saber, no todo siempre se hace menester, y lo sagrado siempre ha de estar, así nosotros no podamos ver. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. I see Jordan appear really fast after the song, but I started, so I didn't know what to do. Should I start the song? I do a short version of it.
That was excellent.
It was awesome.
Yeah, sounding good. Yeah, we got radio show basically over in the house. Something with the video might have gone a little wonky, but they are in beta. We tried last week a little test and it was a little funny. But another question that is always a fun one, just to ask the guest is, and I'm going to use your Farcaster name. How did you come up with the handle Ruminations? It's a good one.
I just think a lot.
Good enough.
I have a very active internal monologue.
I feel that.
I've told a few people, I've given a few people like insight into my stream of conscious, and they would say if their internal monologue was like that, they would not be able to deal with it. So some self-deprecatory humor.
Nice. Yeah, my brain doesn't like slow down. It's like super hard to even just get to sleep at nights and stuff because just so much is like something pops up and then I'm like, oh, I've got to take a note on that, or it's just kind of all the time. But okay, we've had some fun. I think we can jump in to talk about what Quotient is doing, and I know we've got some people here in the audience that'll be super interested in this.
Yeah, sure. So at its core, Quotient is like data, right? Well, it's really a brand. Zooming out. So the first thing is that getting to your discussions about your observations about like transaction volume and how many transactions you've been doing and how much data there is. In my opinion, there's actually not that much interesting data. I think that Base as an ecosystem, like symptomatic of like broader trends in crypto, has pumped a lot of money into incentivizing on-chain activity because like venture-backed founders get evaluated on how much activity they have on chain, and sort of how much fees they can get. But really, like Jesse at Coinbase is being evaluated based off of how many transactions are happening on Base. So what happened is that builders are like, okay, well, let me put stuff on chain. Like every tip, let's put it on chain. Everything in my app, let's put it on chain. It's cheap. It makes me look good. My investors are happy. I can get grants. It builds hype for the token, like whatever. But in reality, there's like not that many people who are real people like doing stuff on chain. There's a lot of bots, and there's a lot of inauthentic activity where people are farming. So our position is that it's not worth trying to like catalog every, piece of hay in the haystack, to build an authoritative brand. Like our brand is more, we find the needle, and we only keep as little hay as possible to make sure that we find the needle. So with our data, it's like there's the Farcaster social graph, is one, is like the core of the graph. So that's like I, follow Jose. I recasted 10x Chris.eth, so on and so forth, channels, follows, whatever. And then there's like the graph, or the kind of data set of trades and swaps of tokens that people on Farcaster trade, right? And that kind of opens it up a lot. So we got every wallet that's ever traded any Clanker. And then we got the Zora graph, so all those accounts and all the wallets associated with those. Twitter accounts and wallets linked to those Twitter accounts. So kind of like spiraling out. And then we look at people's usage of different applications. So like bidding on QR, or paying someone to amplify a post with Surge, so on and so forth. So that's like all of the raw data. And then there's like an interpretive layer on top of that, where we come up with segments that we think are useful, important for our users. So that's like, who are the people who drive the most volumes for tokens with their post? So that's looking at the Farcaster social graph, but also trades indexes. So I can see that, oh, like Jose follows me and then he liked my post about Oink, and then he bought $25 worth 5 hours later, and he liked 2 other posts about Oink. So we like split up that buy volume between all those people and then rank people based off of how much buy volume they have, as one example. Another example is looking at builders. So like people want to track developers and other people who are working at startups, people who are launching mini apps, so on and so forth. And there's a bunch of different sources for that. There's like the Nanar top mini apps by usage. There's the Farcaster developer rewards. There's people who have a linked GitHub account. There's people who in their Farcaster bio say, I am building such and such. That becomes another segment that we can target. So there's all these different segments. And then depending on what the customer wants to do, or what we want to do, we can kind of present that in different ways. So like the way that a lot of people might know us right now is that we have this leaderboard mini app where we're looking at all of the social data, and we're ranking creators based off of how much engagement they get from quality accounts. On the other hand, like there's been projects that wanted to do like airdrops, and they're like, okay, well, we want to look at, who holds at least this much of our token, and who's posting about our project, and like who's used like the app the most, but like not in a farmy way, so on and so forth, and coming up with like these ranked lists that they can use for airdrops or leaderboards or rewards. And I'll show people like these different interfaces, but I'm it's an interesting question. It's like what it is that we do, because in my view, like we really track like who's contributing value, right? And we try to do that accurately, so we're not saying that people who are farmers are super valuable and influential, but then we're also catching people who may not be like social butterflies, but are solid, members of the
Right.
community. But that's not like a product, right? That's
Right. But
a data set that you can use for different things. So the focus right now is trying to show how it can be used for different things, right? So like the leaderboard is one example. We're showing people how it can be used for airdrops and rewards. And then the next thing that we're going to release is unsecured borrowing. So using your social reputation and on-chain activity to uh,
oh,
borrow funds, and then as a lender to kind of lend money to people who you trust, using
Dude,
Quotient as kind of like an underwriter.
that's huge. I mean, already what like that just blew my mind, but already what you had been talking about has so many different use cases. Like just to be able to sludge through like the amount of bots and people that are there but really just not authentically interacting with people, but just like GM or hey yeah, or those little things just to sort of have, because everything, so much of it is tracked and there's so much data there, I think, through those clicks. So to be able to find out who's consistently adding value, and it's gotten so much more sort of intricate in the last, I'll just say, 6 months with the creator tokens. So now instead of just like someone buying tokens, pretty much everybody has a token representing themselves. So that's like another way to sort of track how people are interacting when they're connected on that social graph. Like so and so is buying tokens of the people that they interact with. They're like creator coins. And so those people are probably, valuable for certain types of mini apps that are, more less like games, like going and shoot 'em up, or like farming, like an actual farming game where you grow crops and like get the points or whatever. To be able to make quality connections, I think, is one of the biggest reasons a lot of people came to Farcaster, because some of the other social networks are kind of a mess. It's just so much going on. It's kind of a smaller community and pool of users over there, at least for now, and maybe for a good while. Of course, the base app being introduced added a lot of things and users, and it's odd sort of bouncing between base app and Farcaster. I just joined base app kind of recently, so I'm still kind of checking it out, and I'm more on Farcaster, partially because channels and things like that make it a little easier to get around and be connected with those people that I value their opinion, their photographs, their writings, all these things. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a massive undertaking, I would think, to be able to gather all those different kind of spokes in the wheel of trades, social interactions, social token buying, and then including when you add in, X and other platforms that you're able to link wallets to and link accounts to, then you have a pretty large pool of data for, I would think, anybody building a mini app, for example, over on Farcaster. This would be very useful for. We've got a few in the crowd that are doing so.
Yeah, yeah. I recognize a few from the feed. um, yeah, so I mean, I think it's useful. I think that we're at the same time, like it's a business that needs to make money, and unfortunately, um, I well, maybe fortunately, actually, for many app developers, I don't really think that there's like a viable business that could generate a meaningful amount of revenue that just tries to monetize mini app developers, because people are experimenting. They may not be monetizing themselves. Many mini apps are short lived. So a lot of the time, we just kind of help them uh, pro bono, right? So with Say Angel, he just did his launch of the Petlet NFT collection, where to make your Petlet, they look at the warplets of like your best friends, right? So like we have an API for that, where we look at how people interact with each other and weight those interactions to come up with who your kind of closest connections are. So what we've been trying to do is really just find people who are building kind of like interesting things, and then build what's necessary to help them so we can learn more. And in some cases, there's opportunities to kind of monetize. So like we worked on the Noise airdrop. We had a pretty close partnership with Tippin and On-Chain Inc. We had a contract with Clanker. We're currently working on Habs, DGen DAO. We worked with DAU. So we did a lot of kind of like analytic consulting work to help people do this like targeting and rewards and so on. But I can kind of show you different interfaces that we've built and like what you can do with them to give people a sense of the data and like what's possible. And then at the end, I can kind of show people like how you could use our data to target an airdrop, since that's something that a lot of people use our data to do. And then hopefully, kind of after walking through all this things, I think people might have a better understanding of like why we're personally going to choose credit and lending as how we try to monetize.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And you know, you had mentioned that a lot of the mini apps are sort of short-lived, and it can be really difficult to, you know, really monetize them beyond what maybe like a flash in the pan. And I think that's, you know, that's very true. Hopefully, as kind of the space matures and grows, there will be more you know, more possibilities for the people that are building these, you know, cool and fun little mini apps to have something that is, you know, going to pay the bills. Because I think probably a lot of the devs that are building that stuff now are you know, not in a place where they can support themselves through that, unless they have other, you know, they've built a handful of them, or they're staying on top of the leaderboard, and maybe that's helping by, you know, developer rewards or something. But just through a little, you know, game or interactive, you know, raffling thing, like that's, you know, not gonna bring home the bacon per se, even though it might make a little here and there. So I think everybody will be stoked to see you kind of walk us through. And I know some people, at least in this chat, are gonna find it super useful. And hopefully, you know, can maybe team up with you guys a little, and you know, down the road, I want, yeah, after we go through this, maybe we can go a little more into the lending and borrowing, and how that might be more profitable. But yeah, take it away. You should be able to screen share and all the things.
Sweet. Yeah, and I mean that on the topic of it being difficult to make money, like it is extremely difficult. I know this, firsthand. Like I left my job at a nonprofit, and I had like a little severance, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like try to be a writer. So I moved to Argentina, and then I was
Mm.
writing and like trying to learn Spanish, and then I ran out of money, and I came
Ay,
back
qué
to the
pena.
US, and yeah, que feo. And I was, in this apartment with like a deflated air mattress, and I had nothing, and I had to figure out how to make money on
Mm.
Farcaster. And that has been, I've been fortunate in being able to like find organizations like Sky Castle to support. Proxy gave me a loan, and we've also done
Nice.
about 75K in sales, right? But that's like not it's a huge trudge, and we spend a lot on infrastructure and don't really, we're not really profitable. So I'm it's very important to me to figure out how to help people make money. And I think that one thing to keep in mind with these mini apps and them being ephemeral and so on and so forth is that like the value isn't just like the mini app that's created, it's like the networks that are formed and people building trust.
Totally.
And then as like everything is always changing, like politically in the base ecosystem at Zora, at Farcaster, with these projects, and all that change creates opportunities. So the way that I think about it is more like I actually think that the money is here and the users are here. It's more of like what's the idea that's going to scale and where people are really going to want to like commit to it. And when that happens, like, are there the networks there where the person who has the idea is like, cool, well, like I know so and so from there, and they're a smart contract dev, and they can like look this over for me, and I know Jordan, and Jordan can help me with this data thing, and then create something that's big and blows up, and that we can all ride their coattails. So I think it's really kind of like a team ecosystem effort, and
Totally.
while it feels people can feel like they're alone like with their thing, we're all kind of like working together as one ecosystem. So
Love it.
I'm
Love it.
hopeful,
And
but
I, I'm super stoked that we got to have you on the show because obviously you're like out there doing the good work from what you talked about earlier, working nonprofits and doing this to, which is can be a huge benefit to people, being able to help them out pro bono a little to kind of get them off the ground. Like just a huge thank you for the work you've done. I think that's also like really cool that you moved to Argentina and wanted to, just focus on writing. Hopefully you can, after Quotient is, paying the bills, roll and things are set, maybe you can go back and do a little writing. Epic Dylan in the chat here is the founder of PageDAO, which what we kicked that off in 2019 and we wanted to build the Library of Alexandria on the blockchain first, and that was a little too much. We bit off more than we could chew, but being able to easily put any type of literature on chain as an NFT was accomplished. So shout out to Dylan, and maybe in the future you can chat with him if you guys aren't already kind of connected. He's building little mini apps and doing really cool stuff too. So yeah, just wanted to kind of mention that. And now, take it away.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let me figure out how to share this screen. um,
On the left-hand side of Discord, if you're on a computer, it should be below the little list of chats, video, and screen share.
Unless yeah, I still have a lot of
stuff
stuff open.
I bet.
I'm just gonna raw dog it and share my entire screen.
Okay.
Okay.
As soon as you've hidden all your, secret stuff, while you're doing that, I'll shout out Aperion Creations made it to the show. Nice. And howdy, Zach. Good to have you here. And Ventra.
Can you guys see something that looks like an interface?
Yeah. Let me pop that out a little larger here for myself. Okay. Yeah, now I'm seeing interface lists. It looks like user profiles and stuff. I'm gonna mute myself, and yeah, you can take it away. Okay, now we're seeing your Farcaster.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so like, what do we have now? The first thing that we have is the leaderboard, and the idea here was that a lot of token projects, like everything is a leaderboard, right? Like the dollar is a leaderboard. You can have more or less of the dollar. And with Farcaster, people don't always like to rank themselves relative to other people. But like if you look at the engagement that people get, and then you weight it by your quotient score and apply other kind of facets to the algorithm, you can kind of rank people like Farcaster did with their creators leaderboard. So we decided to make this like kind of our first step towards being more public facing, because there was a creator leaderboard before ran by Farcaster. People are familiar with the format. So we said, okay, we're going to do that, but it's going to be decentralized with the rewards. So, people are ranked, and we found sponsors. So this week, the sponsor was Peoples, a project in the Donut ecosystem. They gave us about $1,000 of their token, and the top 50 people are going to split that prize pool. And people who hold the donut token are getting boosted rewards, and we're highlighting them in the mini app. So this is kind of like performance art, where the idea is like, okay, like you could use our data for advertising. Like here's how, and people can learn more. They can buy it. They can post it to the feed. We have all sorts of stuff on the back end where when you post about it on the feed, we can see how much engagement you get and like how much buy volume those posts are generating, so on and so forth. So the goal here is that there's other kind of core leaderboards that we maintain and use for a lot of different clients. So like this one is really based, the creators one is really based on top of our quotient score, right? But we have a lot of other stuff, and we're going to add more leaderboards and be able to distribute more rewards, as well as do like kind of targeted ads for people that want to engage a specific persona, like send them a push notification to say, hey, like here's $5 of my token. We're about to launch this new feature that Quotient thinks will be a good fit for. So that's like kind of one way you could think of Quotient. Another thing that we looked at was like the DEX screener frame, where people are trying to learn about tokens and like whether they should buy them, and kind of discover and explore. So we built a prototype of that where you could kind of see like the different kind of segments that we track. So for instance, like who are the people who have the most influence amongst traders ranked by how much buy volume they've generated through their post, which is this category, or who are traders who are really, really good but don't post a lot. um, what are the top traders trading like in the feed? This is old and doesn't 100% work anymore, right? And you were able to kind of say, okay, I want to look at a person, or actually, let's choose someone else. Uh, hmm,
This is rad.
and kind of see like, okay, like here's all the different things that they're doing that could be like relevant to a brand. Like Jose collects songs on Tortoise and created songs on Tortoise and was a top tipper and is a top evangelist for Anchor tokens, right? So like that means like if I'm a project and I'm trying to target creators and artists and musicians, like very like good person to look at, right?
So
And
quick question. Is this because I know leaderboard is, mini app, it's there, anybody can go to it. Is this also like publicly available, or is this something that's a little more behind the scenes, like tools you have, but isn't necessarily like out for everybody? Or if you go to like the website, is there more data, like this kind of stuff to see?
yeah, so I mean, it's something that we were going to put to do more with, and then decided not to for now. I'll get into why later. If you go to that URL, it works, but as you saw earlier, not all the data is being updated. But so yeah, so but yeah, but the idea is like one way to think of how Quotient could be used is like if I'm a trader, I could look into like a token. I'm not sure if the data will be here because
Super
I haven't
cool.
run this in a
And
while.
with some of this, you could also like if say you've been building up your brand for a while and you finally decide, okay, I'm going to launch a token. Say like me and Jose are like, okay, we're going to launch a token for the Impact concerts to try and raise some capital for some public goods, whatever. Then
Yeah.
we could be able to see, okay, these are people that are supporting XYZ. They're trading, so that just in that alone, like off the top of my head, would be super useful.
Yeah, exactly. And for like the perspective of a trader or project, it's like as a trader, it could be helpful to go see like, okay, like people who are top traders who've recently traded, who are the people who've driven the most volume for the project, who are the people who engage the most with the brand account, who are the holders, and like let's rank the holders based off of how much they use the application, how much buy volume they've driven, how much of the token they hold, so on and so forth. Like who are the different users of the app and what are the segments. And the idea here was that if you're trying to like diligence a token, that all this data would be helpful in addition to like looking at the volume coming into the token, how it's broken down between like different audiences. And we decided not to go forward with this because it's really expensive to collect all of this data
Mm.
for every token. And then do the other stuff that people are kind of expecting out of a trading interface, like showing P&L for every position, having all that data be available in near real time,
Man,
so on and so forth.
I can only
So
imagine. Another thing that some of this data, or maybe other aspects of what you guys are doing, which could be really helpful too, is like anytime I see a project coming out that has a token, or even not. Sometimes it's just if I want to invest my time into say a game. I want to be able to look at, in the early days, it was like you would go to Twitter and talk with other friends and on Discords about like, okay, I want to basically vet the devs, the team that are building X product because it sounds cool. But we had so many things rugging, so many people pretending to be charities and all these things. That's just kind of part of any part of the world. We got scammers and rug pullers out there. So to be able to use some of this data, just to be able to be like, oh, these people on the team have been, solid in XYZ, makes me a little more comfortable to buy in, to buy the NFT that goes along with the mini app that mines the coin, whatever. So there's like just a lot of use cases that this stuff is going to be really helpful for.
Yeah, or who are the top holders? And the same questions that you would ask about the team for the top holders. But yeah, it could be, that's one way that it could be used. And then getting to kind of what you were saying with maybe you're launching a project and you want to find people who are who could resonate with your brand. There's kind of like the marketing targeting aspect. So say that I'm interested in like music, right? I can be like, okay, I really respect Jose. I think that he has a lot of pull with musicians and other kind of artistic creators. So there's one option where I can pull all of his mutual connections and then rank them by how frequently they kind of interact back and forth. And then maybe I want to do the same for Tortoise because um, they are, a popular music mini app. I'll do Mavi's account actually, and I can pull those people, and I can pull people who follow the Tortoise channel. I could add the token, and I can also look for like application usage. So like, who are the people who collected those songs or created those songs? And then maybe I'm also interested in like people who are top traders, because I want to get people to, you know, look at my
Well,
holders and
yeah,
be like,
if
wow,
if if anybody's using this, then they're going to be watching the top traders to see what they're trading. So yeah, I mean, there's a
yeah.
lot.
So this is a little slow. Again, we have all these internal tools. Sometimes they break. I
Of
hope this
course.
works. But
So far, it's already been pretty mind blowing. A lot of wheels turning in my old noggin.
okay, yeah, there's this weird thing with the saving feature. Okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, here's these 500 people who are going to be interested in music, right? And then I can be like, I wonder who the most influential are that are mutuals with Jose and Mapley and who are top traders. Ted, right? And then maybe I'm like, okay, that's really restrictive. Oh, I chose the wrong one. That's why. That didn't seem right. Where's our top trader one? Top 100.
So while you're
Uh,
doing this, we got to beta test Beeper today before the show, and it was really cool to get to be able to check it out, and be able to go through the process. And at the kind of almost at the end stage, like you do your kind of description and you put in a couple posts that people can share as sort of a call to action, and then you can offer some rewards, and then you basically target certain, it's like if you have $10 of rewards, you can like get that signal out to, like, I think it was like 800 people. If it's $20, it's like 1,000 or something like that. But there was a few areas in which you could sort of dial in. You could add a slider for Nanar score. There was like a bot protection, Farcaster Pro. There was a bunch of things like that, which I didn't get super deep into because I just kind of wanted to get the thing out. I was like, okay, Nanar, like, I think I did like 65 or whatever,
yeah.
bot protection on. But like some of the tools that you guys have could really help to dial in, who you're targeting. One suggestion I had made to Undefined, I was like, yo, if there was also my followers here so I could sort of see who's already following me that's also a beeper, make sure they get the message because we're already interacting and they'd probably want to come. It's just interesting to be using mini apps that could definitely have some benefit from including some of what the tools that you guys are building here.
Yep. So you can do that. So you
Whoa.
can look at the people who follow you and then who are on the Beeper waitlist. And we have
Dude,
this data because we recently helped someone else run a campaign with
nice.
Beeper. And then I can, save that. And then you can use those kind of filters that I showed you earlier to um, kind of filter on the people that you want to reach out to,
Super
right?
rad.
And so like 135 people who have a quotient score above 0.65 and are on the wait list and follow you, right?
Nice.
So sometimes like we tell people, well, we can help them with this stuff, and they're like, well, we're going to build it ourselves, and that's like what DAU said,
Dude.
and it turns out that it's actually really hard.
Yeah,
So
I think.
I decided that instead of trying to convince these people and like DM them, not talking about Beeper specifically, but like say like, hey, like you want to use our data, like it's eventually going to cost money, but you can prove it out for free. People are busy, they want to save money, they want to try to do it themselves.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to build leaderboard, and we're going to use all this segmentation and targeting for leaderboard, and that's how people can understand, what's possible. And then once we've demonstrated it, if you want to use the data, you'll be able to access it through our API.
So
So
dope.
you can access the quotient score data set through the API. You can access the mutual friends. You can create an allow list. So you can say, here's all the criteria for people that I want, and then save it and export it as a CSV or query people against it via an API. And you can create your own leaderboards. So based off of the
Sweet.
criteria that you give us, we can create the leaderboard, and then you can retrieve it. So we're going to be adding to this to kind of surface more of our data over time. But like I said, I think that our main product effort moving forward for the next kind of 3 to 6 months is going to be this credit concept, where I actually don't think that airdrops really work a lot of the time. And if they do, it usually works once. Like they're really good for generating kind of a bump of attention for your brand. But like if it's big enough for people to care, it's usually not sustainable. And then if you just give a lot of people, a little bit of token, they sell it. They're like, this is insulting. What am I going to do with like 74% blank?
Or it's just in the background and you barely notice. You're like, oh yeah, 30 cents worth of whatever. Not enough to even trade. Or like get rid of it before it goes to zero. Like I think that's a
Yeah,
lot of go
yeah,
ahead.
or they give you, or you get a lot of token, and you're like, wow, like I got a lot of token.
I
I
need to
can use
pay some
that money, but I
bills.
don't want to sell it because it's going to be bad for their chart.
Yeah.
So now I have this money that I can't spend essentially. So what our thesis is like, okay, it would be better for people to essentially subsidize loans for their community than it would be to give a little bit of money away, because like what that enables, like imagine your quotient and we have a token, and say that we have like $100,000 that we can use for rewards. It's like we could airdrop that to people, but we could also say like, hey, like who are we trying to reach at quotient? Like indie builders, mini app developers, independent creators, like people whom like say $250 can make a huge difference and can mean that they could buy a new webcam, and they could buy a new router and have better internet. They could travel to a conference and network. They could pay someone to help them with something. They could pay for amps. There's all this stuff that people could do with like not that much money, right? Like relative to like what's available in crypto. So like as a project, I would rather do a $250 unsecured loan to someone who's kind of trusted and vetted and hopefully make, a fee. And if they don't pay back, like they don't pay back, that's unfortunate. But that's also the status quo. The status quo is that you just give money away, right? And
Right.
if you
If it's an airdrop, it's just gone anyway. So this is
yeah,
super
versus
interesting.
like getting the $500 that you can borrow and then being like, cool, I paid it back. Now my quotient credit rating is up,
Oh,
which makes me more attractive to all of the other projects that have access to quotient data and are trying to figure out who to reward. Um, could borrow more money for things, right? And from the perspective of the project, we're like, well, we're helping people who are in our ecosystem. We're making their lives easier, hopefully, and we're hopefully enabling them to kind of like invest in themselves, which should
awesome.
benefit us. So, like thinking about Farcaster, for instance, Farcaster has like $187 million in the bank. Imagine if they put like 2 million of that into a lending pool for creators and builders on Farcaster instead of the $100 developer rewards, or in addition to them.
Heck yeah.
Some of it wouldn't get paid back. A lot of it would be paid back, and it would let people build interesting things and you know stay in the fight, right?
Yeah, yeah. It
And
could make a
hopefully
huge
make
difference for the, I mean, if that was, if they rolled that out, I think it would make a huge difference in maintaining at least and growing the user base. Because there's going to be other, platforms that are on the protocol. Already you saw Base, like a bunch of the Farcaster usage went down when Base launched, and then maybe it's, going to find some kind of happy medium. But there's others and more to come. So that's an interesting aspect, and it's a great segue into a question we have here in the chat. What are ways, or do you have recommendations to increase your quotient score?
yeah. So I would say that to increase your quotient score, it's kind of the intersection of like what's your unique offering as a person, like what essentially be yourself, and then what do people with influence care about, which on Farcaster is like tech, crypto, um, to a certain extent, like politics, music, etc. So like what are unique things that you can create that are of interest to those people? So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is to not over-index on the importance of the quotient score. Like zooming out, like the reason the quotient score exists is because I wanted to play around with forecaster data, but I didn't want to scrape the entire thing because it was too expensive, and I was like, most of this is spammers and farmers. So I looked at everyone who had at least 5 interactions with someone with an FID of less than 10,000, and then pulled the data for those people, and it was like all of the useful data and like 100th of the data, right? So out of
Nice.
that came the idea of quotient score, where I was like, oh, well, if you're trying to rate accounts based off of reputation, you can look at how much engagement they're getting from the top accounts. And then this is meant actually to be more of like a first level, like let me get a rough sense of like this account and like how active and relevant it is, how influential it is. But it's not the final word, right? Like there's all of these
Hmm.
other kind of segments that I just showed you guys, ranging from like how many, like collecting songs on Tortoise to being, like a profitable trader that we track. And most of the time, whether it's for an airdrop or a leaderboard or us underwriting credit, like there's going to be multiple factors taken into account. So like if you want to, I wouldn't like think of it as like how do I increase my quotient score. I would think of it as like how do I create more things that are like uniquely me.
Right.
And right now that is like hosting conversations on Discord, creating a mini app, like
Yeah.
put when you do a trade, like write the cast and like say something interesting, et cetera, et cetera. Like you kind of have to figure it out yourself, right? Like if you want to be at the top of the leaderboard, it's competitive, right? And in the real world, if I want to like find a girlfriend, I can't go up to the perfect person for me and be like, hey, like, what exactly do I need to do to date you? Can you give me like a checklist? Um, so like, can you tell me exactly which restaurant to take you to? And like, can you tell me whether or not to ask you what you want? Like no, like you have to kind of figure it out yourself. And people don't like to hear that, but it's true.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think the first thing that you went with, which was like, first of all, kind of be yourself. That's what the main advice that I give to people that are like, oh, how do I like get some traction? I'm like, just be yourself. Like anything that you're passionate about, like talk about that. If it's photography, share your photos. Like whatever it is that like drives you, eventually other people that have similar interests are going to see that and be like, oh, cool, I want to interact with this person. And that can lead to all sorts of opportunities or just a cool friendship or whatever. So I think that's a good one. And yeah, like it's there's a lot going on behind like the scenes with all this data. So if you're like consistent and you're being yourself, whether that's collecting music or like buying art NFTs or trading, you're really into trading, then yeah, be casting your trades and talk about why you did it. I think that's, always a pretty good piece of advice.
yeah, and like a lot of people churn. So the people who are like active on the network, they notice when people like aren't just like a shooting star, because there's a lot of people who get a lot of hype for like 3 months and disappear or whatever, or and so if you like are consistent, like people notice, and even if they're not really interested in like what you do, they're like, oh, like I feel invested in that person because I've seen them now like multiple times, right? And then that's how kind of like the high trust relationships that um we can leverage to build big things. That's where they come from. Like, like say Angel, like, I mean, I do this a lot, right? Because I'm trying to like win over devs and builders and push my agenda. So I'm like, okay, like, who's doing interesting things? I'm going to follow them. Like, I'm going to engage with them. I posted something that might be relevant to them. I'm going to share it with my friend who's closer to them and ask them to send it to them, right? So
Nice.
then when Say Angel has the opportunity to like has the need to work with Quotient. I'm not just some dude. It's like, oh well, like this is someone I've seen in the feed for a while and we have mutuals, and like this isn't someone who just hits me up when they need something. Like there's
Yeah.
presence there, right? Or
It's
even with
like
Jose, I've seen him on the tip in data for like months.
nice.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just yeah, that's how
Well,
networks form over time.
we go, this Discord, Token Smart, goes way, way back with Matthew, with Nifty Time, and Cameron. I mean, I was onboarded late 2018 onto Cent from those guys. And the Matthew and Rizzle show we do listening parties here in Token Smart for years. I mean, a lot of people, builders and artists had come through kind of before um, Twitter got to be the kind of like crypto highway of information, and it was still Discords before the great flood of Clubhouse. Like this, like there was a lot. Like these shows would be like a couple hundred people in here. And now there's so many more places to go that it's just it's what it is. There's like a smaller audience here, but we're streaming out to other places where people can catch it. But yeah, I go way back with Nifty Time and Compreni. So yeah, Tippin is definitely something that is, I'll shout them from the mountaintops because I know them and know that they care about, you know, the people here and what they're building. They're trying to build something positive, and I really get the same vibe from you that you're really invested in doing something that can make a difference, whether that's to the builders, the users, just the overall community. So again, shout out. There was a few other questions. What are some applications that are using Quoten, and are there any integrations that you would like to do with some mini apps that are out there? If you want to hit those kind of
Yeah,
quick.
so I mean, there's a lot of developers who are using our APIs. So I mean, just scrolling through the list of many apps on the leaderboard, like Say Angel, like I said, used our mutual affinity endpoint, Boost XYZ DAU uses the targeting interface that I just showed you guys. Working on getting a formal integration with Beeper, but like they've shared their data to help us work directly with their users to plan stuff. Surge by Yura, the amplifying
Nice.
platform, uses quotient scores to help people, set their preferences in terms of I only want to let people with a quotient score above X buy my engagement. I only want to buy engagement from people with a quotient score above Y to give people control. Betterment, we planned a campaign for them,
Nice.
MVR for Purple Rain and Airdrop uses the quotient score data, tip-in, etc. So, I mean, but zooming out, it's like
Solid
there's
crew right there. I
many
mean,
apps that use the score data to kind of, uh, or data to kind of like enrich their users' experiences. And then there's projects and companies that have hired us to do kind of leaderboards, custom leaderboards for them. And in terms of integrations and applications, I think that there's definitely an application of our data for trading. My experience using the data to trade was that um, it's probably better to kind of set up something automated versus try to like be on the charts all day, because like the whole thing you can do is see like, oh, like people who are insiders essentially are starting to buy this token. Like I'm going to buy the token. I'm going to wait for everyone to catch up and then sell it. And that's a strategy best done, I think, programmatically versus trying to do it manually. So looking for a collaborator who's interested in working together on that. But we've also kind of sold our data to copy trading interfaces, so like Clicker bought kind of a data set of people that they should recommend to new users from us. But yeah, so that's one area where I don't think we're going to build a trading like a trading interface, but people are definitely welcome to use the data to inform that.
dude, I
But
would. That's would be so dope. Like I don't know, trade roundup, and like it refreshes every hour or whatever, and you're like, oh, I can go catch like what the successful traders and top traders have done over the last hour. Like if I want to try and kind of mimic some of that stuff, because as soon as you go out, um, 6 or even 12 hours, like new token shot up 1,000%, you're kind of late to the game. Um,
yeah, and if there's any developers here who want to build that mini app, I'm happy to give you the data. I think that it could be built in like a day or two.
Sweet.
I think, but the other thing that we're interested in is more of like the vaults and the automated strategies where you would be like, I'm busy, I have like $200, I want to put it into this vault. Uh, Quotient bot is following a strategy. I get, I can withdraw from the vault, and if the bot's profitable, then I make money. So things kind of in that vein as well. But like I said, the primary focus is going to kind of be the credit and loans, and then kind of taking the interface I showed you with the targeting and kind of making it simpler to support that workflow of like, okay, like I want to send some tokens, like here's the people, they're ranked, and handle some of just like the annoying, not annoying stuff, but just the stuff that goes into like planning one of these initiatives. So like with Oink, before this, I was working on the allocators for their
Oh yeah,
location season
tomorrow.
starting tomorrow, right?
Nice.
And it was like, um, da, 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 da. So I selected a bunch of criteria. So like affinity with the Oink account, using their new tip in actions, being an allocator in the past, holding over a million Oink tokens, being a top trader, being a top planker evangelist. That gave us like 1,500 people, and we had to like narrow it down, right? And right now, the UI isn't very good at like that workflow of saying, okay, I want to limit it to 750 people, and I want to make sure that everyone's token allocation is above X, so it's meaningful. And here's the tiers I want, so on and so forth. Like right now, I do that in a spreadsheet, but we're going to kind of build that into the application and like build the integrations like with the different kind of tools, places where you might be running the campaigns, if you're not
Awesome.
just sending tokens yourself. So that's the other thing that we're going to be working on.
I mean, that makes it. I'm stoked. There was 1,500 people that met those like first criterias for Oink and Tippin. That's great.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't share. I thought I was sharing the screen, but like you can kind of see people here and so on and so forth. But anyway, yeah. So honestly, it's been very hectic, and like I'm working by myself. Like of everything that you just saw,
Damn.
uh, I I built the leaderboard. I was the first thing I really got some help with. So
Oh,
Saltorius and Eve, who created
I
people's,
I
he contributed.
imagined like a team, because that's a lot, bro.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, and honestly, a lot of frustration at the beginning because I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing that's actually useful. Developers use it," and I was trying to raise money, and VCs were like, "Well, like it's not a big enough vision. Like, what if Farcaster doesn't grow? Like this, that, and the other." And then I talked to certain teams active on Farcaster, and they'd be like, "Well, we don't need this data. Like, we already know everyone who matters." So I was, like very just focused on, frankly, how do I get to the next month? Like, how do I
Yeah.
convince one person to write an angel check, or how do I win one more contract? And I wasn't really thinking about the bigger picture or like how to tell a good narrative about what we're doing. And now I'm just starting to like kind of pivot to that. Like, okay, like I've established some credibility. Um, you want a big vision? Here's a big vision. We're going to offer unsecured credit. And it's, I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it'll definitely be interesting. Um, so yeah,
Well,
it's an interesting
y-
moment where we have like a bunch of different things, and I'm trying to kind of condense it into something more digestible and like create a website. Like we don't have a website, so on and so forth.
it seems like what you've built will help others that were in your position, because it's true that like VCs, they're just going to look at like, okay, in of course, like many apps want a lot of interactions and a lot of people that visit daily, and that's why there's all the check-ins and all these little quests and stuff, or partially why. um, because yeah, the if you're out there trying to raise or get a sponsor or whatever, it's like if you don't have a bunch of that data backing you, even if you've been building something for a long time and have a lot of engagement, if it's not like tracked on chain or easily identifiable as something that's already raised like some funds, then it's really tough. It's especially this last year has been pretty tight in the Web3 job area. I can attest to that. But yeah, I think like it's like you're building the tools to help people kind of avoid being stuck in that, like, I have this cool thing, but because I don't have XYZ, I can't get someone to support me, even though you might be having a lot of quality like interactions and stuff. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, like finding your first 25 fans or whatever. Like Penny like contributed to our crowdfund when it was a completely different thing because he was like, "Oh, like this is kind of interesting. Like maybe we could work together one day, right?"
Nice.
So, yeah, I think that helping people, figure out who those people that might resonate with what they're building are more quickly. It doesn't like guarantee your success, but I think it certainly saves you time. Um, but
Yeah.
and I'm seeing 10x Chris your question on Forecaster about like if I've considered letting users pay the operation cost, and it's like kind of, but the thing is like it's just me, right? And when you release a product, it's not just like will it be break even or profitable. That's almost like less important than how much time it takes me. So say that I
Mm.
released that and there was any charge associated with it, then any of those people, if they when they run into an issue, they're gonna like hit me up and be like, "This is broken. Like, I need this, I need that. Please fix this." And I'm the type of person who wants to help, but I can't like do that while also you know, doing all the other things that I need to do to like position us to like launch our token, for instance, or do this um, credit product or support our larger customers. So yeah, it's really more of a matter of like uh, having the resources and the bandwidth such that like if someone's having an issue with the trading interface, like maybe there's another person that could step
Right.
in to like get it fixed. That's not me.
Yeah.
So something, so it will be coming, but like, yeah, just kind of a matter of priorities.
You need the old maybe unpaid to graduate to paid intern. We do have a question, and as you work solo, which is blowing my mind, Epic Dylan wanted to ask, what kind of AI do you use? Are you using a specific one, you know, to help with certain things?
Yeah, great question. I use Claude um, Pro. So I think it's at what is that now, like 4.5 Opus or Opus 4.5. So like I'll upload the repo and then like, you know, I was a product manager before, so it'd be like, okay, like this is what I want. Like, do you understand? Can you repeat it back to me? No, and then like have that like conversation and then, you know, get the individual files, read them over and paste them in. I tried the kind of cursor agent, um, and I don't know, like I'm a word cell, so I just like having like the conversation and like the documents and like being able to make the choice of taking the suggestions from the conversation and paste them into like the repo one by one. And with like the backend stuff, like I'm more like like my engineering experience is more kind of backend in databases. Like I'll write like a lot of the queries and then test them and then be like, this is like what I want the API query to be. Can you please implement it, etc. So yeah, like not completely just being like, hey, can you one shot this? Like I like to go step by step, but yeah, I'm like, I rely very heavily on Claude.
Nice. He definitely threw I think it was at least three fire emojis after you had said that. So
Oh, really?
it proves. It proves. um, nice. Uh, let's see. Um, any other questions? I'm just jumping around here from Discord to Farcaster and back. And yeah, anything else you know specific that you wanted to show or share? I know we've had you for a while. I always like to give you know the option to sort of wind down, but I could keep going for a little bit. This is super interesting.
Yeah, first, like, it's a cool group of people that are, you know, have attended, and like, it's not hundreds, but like, I think it's impressive to get like anyone to join anything when they have so many options for things to do and other
True.
responsibilities. Congratulations to you, and thanks for everyone who joined. In that vein, as kind of like a this is how you can use Quotient. If everyone here can go and make sure they're following me, uh, the Quotient channel, Jose, Easy and Crypto, and then let's choose something random. Um, Honestly, those should be sufficient. If you can make sure that you do those things, after this, I can use Quotient to pull those audience segments and then send a little bit of Oink to show how it works. Um, but maybe let me add like one more thing that's a little bit more random. Uh, and then also follow who's someone who doesn't have it. Oh, okay, perfect. Our data analyst.
Cool.
So he only has 25 followers, so this is something that will be unique to the conversation. So let me
Let's
pull up.
let's get him some more followers for sure. Yeah. If you wanna either drop that into the chat, his profile link, or just you know let us know. I'm
And I
willing
have
to search it
permission,
out.
do I join?
You
I'll
should.
I sent it to you
Okay,
in
cool.
DMs.
let me just over on the Farcaster or here on Discord.
On Discord.
Okay, let me hop into the DMs here and see. Do I need to add or accept you as a friend? I'm looking.
I also sent it as that.
Okay, because yeah, I didn't see it pop up here. I probably need to maybe accept. Oh, okay, here it is. Accept. Okay, boom, just accepted. Now I always forget to check on those requests. Terrible with that. Okay, I've got it. I'm dropping this link here right into the live chat. So for everybody here, check the live chat. You might just need to scroll a little down to today on the sidebar, and then there is a link for Francisco Marengo. I'm going to click it right now. I'll tell you if it drains my wallet. Nope, all it did was open Farcaster. So I'm following now. Cool, awesome. Yeah, a little bit of oink is always appreciated. Did I lose my audio? I think I'm good. And then it drained me. My earphone's a little funky sometimes, so. And then I was gonna do a little rug wheel. We call the, you know, the wheel of names, we call it the rug wheel because, you know, everybody but like one person basically gets rugged. And then we used to have on a buddies show, and we've incorporated into a few, we call it getting sauced. So if you're in the audience, you make it onto the rug wheel, right? But sometimes people, and it's fine, like you jump into a show, but you're busy, you're cooking, it's kind of in the background, or you fall asleep or whatever. So what we would do is we would do a giveaway, and once that giveaway, like once their names popped up, they've been announced, they had 10 Mississippi, which is not very long with the type of people we roll with who know that if they count down to 10 Mississippis, they have a chance. So in the chat, people would do 10, 9, you know, different people are adding the numbers till you get to 0. If that person hasn't typed I'm here or something, then they lose the prize and it gets spun again and they're off the wheel. So it's called getting sauced. And so we've had a lot of fun with that over the years here on Token Smart. But I think, let me see if Dragonate is available, because I was gonna do a little rug wheel of my own. Let me just tag he told me to give him a heads up, and I didn't give him much. Rug wheel time. Okay. And it looks like, nope, I'm sleeping. Okay, Drago, if you want to load up the wheel with everybody that is here in the audience, that would be awesome. And then we can do a little wheel spin. I think he has a bot set up for this stuff, but I forget. It's been a while since I've done that. So let me see if Drago responds, if he's here. I know he's here because he said, no, I'm sleeping. Yeah, just use the bot. The prize is gonna be, I was trying to figure exactly that out. The prize is gonna be more oink. I was just gonna see how much, like, let's see. The prize will be more oink. I am gonna do maybe like 100K is probably like a couple bucks or something. Oh yeah, since they changed this, you can't just type it in on Farcaster and see. You have to go to trade. So let me see, trade, oink, and USD. Oops, I spelled it with a K. Okay, so, you know, we'll give a couple bucks here. Whoa, 500K is almost like $2. So yeah, someone's getting a couple extra bucks worth of oink here that I will be sending to the winner a little after the show. And I mean, just a huge thank you to Jordan Ruminations for coming and spending the time to give us the rundown. This is super impressive, very exciting. And you know, the idea of being able to do collateralless loans sounds like could be super helpful. Oh, I'm bringing Drago and his bots up onto the stage so we can
How many wieners?
um just one lucky wiener.
Okay.
Everybody that does the thing and follows Ruminations over on Farcaster, as well as the linked, I forget the name already, the linked, I'll put it again at the bottom, Francisco Marengo. I'm going to copy that and put it again at the bottom so it's easy to get to. And then me and Jose, if you're following all of us, then you're gonna get some Oink airdrop also from our very generous and talented guest here. Ooh, I'll put it in event links too, because then you don't have to scroll. You can just go anytime to event links after the show if you're busy or something, and give that a follow. And you probably have a little bit of time to do that. But if you lag too long, you could miss out. Okay. Oh, I saw the wheel up before. Oh no, maybe that was just Draco. Okay. Let me know when the wheel is ready. Time to get excited here, folks. Let's see some fire in the chat. Drop some. Oh, geez. You got to go. Go right now to live chat and press enter. That's how you get in the giveaway. I forgot about that. Yeah. Just be yourself, Entra. That's how your score is going to go up. Oh, did it already go? We got a new rug wheel coming to town because the other one would last an hour.
We have a winner.
Excellent. It was the auto setting was for an hour, so we're spinning back up the wheel. Everybody does want to go over to live chat. Yeah, we got rugged. We all got sauced. There's a redo. It's going to be up any moment now, and then you just want to click enter on that, and this one will be for like a minute. Okay, go. You've got 1 minute. You've got 55 seconds. Music. You've got 40 seconds to join the rug wheel. Get them oink oink oinks. You want them tokens really bad to bank your little boinks. That's how we roll over here in the whole token smart. Yeah. Rugging, getting sauced all over that wheel. Woohoo!
Get your asses in the Rockbot giveaway. Dragonade, quoting Dragonade. This is not
all
live.
Right.
I'm just a messenger, okay?
The 15 seconds left. If you didn't hit enter, it's a couple bucks worth of oink that you're missing out on. Yeah, big shout out to the Tippin crew as well, and looking forward for we're on like season 6 or 7. That's gonna be starting tomorrow. And make sure you're paying attention over there. You might get an allocation to be able to give out, which is really cool. Yeah, that song was pretty sweet. Oh man, so much fun. Again, big thanks, Jordan, for coming and hanging. I look forward to the leaderboard continuing, and more cool stuff. So being able to get to dive in and check some of this these very interesting datas out, and maybe in some of the different mini apps that are yet to come. And yeah, it was a really great show. Really appreciate everybody coming and spending your Monday evening with us. We Elbow, you won! Woohoo, Elbow! Elbow is a OG who's been here for many years. In fact, we grew up together as neighbors. He lives just right up the street from where I live when I'm up in the Cali, up in the States. So congratulations, and don't feel bad, everybody, if you do the things. Our amazing guest is going to be sending out a little something in Oink too. So everybody won Oink today. That's a good day in my book.
Oh my god, yeah. Happy to be here, tuning in. Today I was certainly quiet. sending a couple message here and there on the live chat, keeping the flame up on the Farcaster, promoting and see who else could join. Happy to see new faces here. Actually, looks like the beeper connected with the audience. That's cool. We are actually exploring to use these different tools to get the conversation going on Mondays, because it had been 5 years of Mondays with Easy. We usually have guests, sometimes we don't, but we certainly had the hype like to start having more quality time with the creators and builders on Farcaster, and having Mondays as the best day of the week, a good day to start also the Web3 journey, and be able to share in quality time. I actually wish Quotient counts voice hours in this.
That would be an interesting one. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Happy Monday. We're just kicking off the week. We very possibly may have a Friday show over on House. It kind of worked to stream in tonight. Like, it started totally good and then video lost. They are in beta, so like they're still squashing bugs, and it's just a kind of like test group of people trying it out. But I'm down to try another Friday over there on the House, which is just native mini app in Farcaster now, which used to be Farhouse, now is House. So you can always come join us there, which is more of a casual hangout. We might have a couple people jump in and hang with us, a little bit of music and a little bit of chat about what goes down throughout the week. Yeah. Anything, Jordan, that you want to add before we sort of wind down?
No, just, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks you guys for having me, and thanks to everyone for being patient as I kind of said a lot of words.
Dude,
Um,
it was
pretty-
it was
pretty
fire.
You
But
don't only say a lot of words, but it was actually, they actually had sense, So I appreciate that. It was no losing time. I just want you to know that it was quite great to listen to you today from the beginning to the end. Hope we can see you again in upcoming weeks and have cool guests. We decided to non-stop on the Mondays. And next week, we are going to have a cool guest that if you are interested into DeFi, I think this is one of the most amazing projects I ever saw. Non-financial advice at all. I'm just hype about it. ASOS Finance. And we are going to have, nice hat, Easy, nice hat. We are going to have Penguin, founder of ASOS Finance, here. I think it will be great if you tune in and check it out. He's actually today here on the audience, so he was able to tune in. I thought this might be cool for him to get to know more about Farcaster and the tools that are available. So I think that's the idea of Mondays, to be able to connect with such an amazing community. It's maybe 300 people in the overall community. Maybe we will not connect with them, and I'm just talking about my circle, and I just would like to see them more oftenly during at least 2026. That talking about New Year resolutions.
Yeah, and we have some other great guests booked upcoming. I know we have nodes from Zapper and what's the other one? Pool.
Fans.
Yeah, and a couple other people that are kind of confirming dates, but it looks like we're gonna end 25 ramping up nicely, and we're just gonna rock it for 2026 and just try and have quality conversations and have a little fun with you all. So hope to see you next Monday, and hodl the vibes. Have a great week. Jose, you want to play a song?
Definitely, yeah. I'm just hyped with the comments on the chat. We had quite a good vibe. Looks like Beeper made its work. Looks like we got 2202 coming from House. He was listening on House and decided to join in. So I appreciate the cosmic multi-streaming we have. Let's say goodbye with a song. Keep away from FOMO and hold the vibe. It sounds really good, right? Can you hear that? I can hear it here. I just can't steam with that for some time. We are the farmers of no winter's land, sending the fire of love. Aquí estamos los sembradores, cuidadores de la tierra, donde el invierno no existe, se derretirán tus penas, transmitiendo todo el fuego que se encuentra en las semillas del audio. Aquí estamos los sembradores, cuidadores de la tierra, donde el invierno no existe, se derretirán tus penas, transmitiendo todo el fuego que se encuentra en las semillas del audio. We are the farmers of now winter's land, sending the fire of love. Tenemos las semillas, corazón, vamos levantando una oración que la disponga a germinar, semilla para el despertar. Que tenemos la semilla, corazón, vamos levantando una oración que la disponga a germinar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar. We are the farmers of now winter's land, settling the fire of love. Viene el sol radiante desterrando oscuridad, el invierno solo existe para agradecer al sol. Cierra el círculo, disfruta de la orquesta de la vida y el calor. Viene el sol radiante desterrando oscuridad, el invierno solo existe para agradecer al sol. Cierra el círculo, disfruta de la orquesta de la magia y el amor. Cierra el círculo, disfruta de la orquesta del cacao y el sabor. Cierra el círculo y disfruta de la orquesta del Yopito y la visión. Tenemos la semilla, corazón, vamos levantando una oración que la disponga a germinar, semilla para el despertar, semilla para el despertar, sonido para el despertar, sonido para el despertar. Aquí estamos los sembradores, cuidadores de la tierra, transmitiendo todo el fuego que se encuentra en las semillas de la unión. Cyborg Amish balance, keep away from foam and hold the vibe. Woo!
Woo! All right, yeah, hodl the good vibes and touch some grass when you get a chance. And again, huge thanks to Jordan Ruminations. Make sure you guys are doing the things. That extra follow is in the event links over just below live chat if you need to get to that easily. And just really appreciate everybody spending their time with us.
Oh yeah.
I think with that, we sign it off.
Just maybe tiny alpha that maybe with Dylan we were going to share if it was ready, but looks like we don't have it ready. We are working on a birthday song app. Basically, you can buy a song for you or for somebody for your birthday. It's the classic Venezuelan song, which is the longest song. It's a custom song, birthday song for you. And then you have an option to actually have a custom song with your natal chart. Basically, you give me your natal chart data, and we make a customized song for you or for a gift.
Wow.
I think the idea is more for gift. It's a custom gift. And Dylan is working on that. Thank you so much, Dylan, for taking the time to do so. Basically, it was, how I can do a mini app that I can offer my dream job, that is do songs for others, custom songs. That will be dope. So we are working on that, and I'm really hyped about it. And
That's
hyped
super.
about
That's
next week's
super
show.
fun. Super fun to be
Yeah.
able to send somebody a birthday song like that's specific for them as a little NFT. That's super rad.
Yeah. So we might have that conversation later in the month or in the year. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm hyped about it. And next week we have Penguin. That will be a really cool conversation. Look forward to have the upcoming guest booked. If you know somebody that will benefit from having this conversation, from having an open call, people coming over to ask questions.
Totally.
DM us with his name. And
Yeah.
we will
Or
reach
if you
him and
want to
book him.
see, like, if there's somebody that you're like, oh, I really like what they're doing, I'd love to get a deeper dive into this, just hit us up and let us know. Be like, hey, you should have so and so on the show. And then we'll reach out and see what we can do.
Yeah. Well,
Cool,
see you
cool.
guys. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, big thanks. This was a pretty decent long show, and appreciate your time. I know you've you're a busy guy, so yeah, truly appreciate it. Looking forward to more, quotienting and getting that good data.
Getting a good
Yeah,
data.
appreciate you guys too. Love the music. Thanks everyone else for
Gracias, mi
joining.
pana.
See you,
Wow.
dude.
Eso.
All right,
Everyone.
peace out, y'all. Shutting her down. Adiwa, adiwa. See ya, see ya.
See ya.